this man, black media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
Hey folks, today's Friday, October 20th, 2023. Coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. We are here at New Birth Missionary Baptist Church in Lithonia, Georgia, where for McDonald's latest stop on the Gospel Inspiration Tour. They will be taking place in the next hour. Speaking of that, we're going to be talking to one of the artists, Mike Teasy, who is on this tour. And he's talking about, of course, what it means to be a hip-hop artist who also dances, bringing a whole different flavor to gospel music. You don't want to miss that interview. Also on today's show, it is Vice President Kamala Harris's 59th birthday. So happy birthday. In addition to that, we'll be talking about Louisiana Congressional District. Supreme Court is allowing Louisiana Republicans more time to draw new maps, which makes no sense because they drew them last year and they were ruled to be unconstitutional and illegal. So we'll talk with the lawyer for the NAACP Legal Defense Fund about that. Also, opposition to Atlanta's Cop City continues as the city is not moving forward to verify thousands of signatures to force a voter referendum. We'll talk to one of the organizers of Stop City. Here in Fulton County, another major development for Fulton County DA Fonnie Willis, another of one of Donald Trump's imps. Guess what? Pleads guilty. We'll tell you exactly what happened today. Also, a New York judge has slapped Donald Trump with a fine for violating a gag order. That more, folks. It's time to bring the funk. I'm Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, roll, y'all. It's Roland Martin. He's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin
Hey folks, Roland Martin here. We are live at New Birth Missionary Baptist Church. I'm going to step out of the way here. As you see, this is the sanctuary that's straight ahead, of course, and what's happening there. The McDonald's Inspiration Gospel Tour. This is the fourth stop. They first was Chicago, Detroit, were Philadelphia. Now they are here in Atlanta at New Birth Missionary Baptist Church. Folks are showing up. The concert is going to start in the next hour. So people are already showing up. And so these are all the artists who are performing. And so we are here looking forward to that. And also in the second half of the show, Mike Teasy is one of the artists performing. We're going to have my one-on-one interview with him. And so definitely want to look forward to that. All right, folks, let's talk about what's happening in politics today. In Louisiana, the Supreme Court is giving Republicans there more time to fix their illegal maps. Now, this is weird because the maps were declared illegal last year in 2022. early 2022, but the Supreme Court ruled that it was too late to change, to fix it in time for the midterm elections. Actually, that was wrong, but so be it. And so then we went now in 2023. Republicans have been complaining that they don't have enough time to actually fix the maps, which is crazy because, okay, they've been illegal since last year. And so here to help us explain what's going on is one of the lawyers from the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. They have been leading this fight. They have been battling in the courts, tooth and nail, fighting Republicans on this. And so glad to have Jared Evans. He's a policy counsel for the LDF. Join us from New Orleans. All right, Jared, so explain us what in the world's going on, because these are illegal maps. They're flat out illegal. And so Supreme Court has been weighing in on this. And so Republicans now saying, oh, we need more time. How do you need more time when literally you've had more than a year and a half?
They had a lot more time than that, Roland. So we were about to get a new map. We were days away from going to the Middle District in Baton Rouge before Judge Dick, and she was ready to start the process of getting a new map in place that had 2 majority black districts. As you know, Roland, currently New Orleans and Baton Rouge are packed into 1 congressional district, and as LDF and the ACLU and our clients have argued since the very beginning of this process that those are 2 distinct cities with 2 distinct needs, and they should be both anchored in their own congressional districts. And the state went to the Fifth Circuit and asked for a writ of mandamus. And that's a legal term that basically means that it stops or forces an administrative body to do something. And in this case, they asked the Fifth Circuit to stop Judge Dick from introducing her map. As I said, she was about to start the process, and they essentially said that they needed more time, that the legislature didn't have enough time last year, and that hopefully if they give them more time, that they'll be able to institute one. But look, Roland, we know what this is. They want to slow this down as much as possible. From the very beginning of this process, their tactic has been to delay and to stall and to push this back, hoping that they can get through another election. Last year, they asked the Supreme Court to issue a stay so they didn't have to institute the map for the 2022 election. And now we're set to go to trial. We're going to go back to court for February 5th in Baton Rouge to get a new map. And so that's what we're focused on. We're headed into February 5th confident that we're going to walk out of court that week with a new map with 2 majority black districts.
All right, Jared, this is Michael Imhotep. So I know we talked about this a few weeks ago on Roland Martin Unfiltered. I saw the story from NBCnews.com yesterday. And if I remember correctly, the ruling from the U.S. Supreme Court was unanimous. And one of the questions I had was, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that they overruled U.S. District Judge Shelley Dick, and they said that she was moving too fast and must give the state of Louisiana more time to consider a new map. Can you explain what is possibly the harm in moving too fast, if that can be proven in court? Moving too fast to create this new congressional district? What could be the harm? What could be the backlash or something like that?
Well, from our perspective, there is no harm and there is no backlash. It's already been too late. We've already gone through one congressional election cycle with the illegal, unfair map that Judge Dick herself, in an 86-page opinion last year, has said was unfair. But Judge Dick, in her wisdom, listened to the court, and she's given the legislature more time. They now have until February 5th to pass a map. And look, this past weekend, a new governor was elected. There'd be a new legislature in January, but we certainly don't have to wait until then. We still have a governor in place now, Governor Edwards. There's still a legislature that's seated, and they still have an affirmative obligation to comply with the law, to comply with Judge Dick's order. And, as soon as we get a ruling from the Fifth Circuit, 2 weeks ago today, my colleague Stuart Nafee argued before the Fifth Circuit here in New Orleans on this state's original appeal, and any moment now, any day now, we certainly expect to get a decision. And I don't want to be overly confident, but I'm very confident in this case, and in the case that we put together, and in our clients more than anything else. And so we are anxiously awaiting an opinion from the Fifth Circuit. And look, if whatever date the court sets, that's when we're going to go and fight for our map. And so Judge Dick has said that that's going to be February 5th. That is several weeks after the new governor and the new legislature is installed and sworn in. So whether it be later this year that they decide to go in and pass the map, or whether they want to wait for the new governor to get installed, it doesn't matter to us. Our goal is to have a map in place with 2 majority black districts as quickly as possible, so that there's time for the appeals to be played out and the rest of the legal process to exhaust itself, so that we are in a good place for the 2024 elections.
Right. A quick follow-up question.
Jared, can you hear me?
I'm sorry.
Hold on. Michael, hold on. Hold on, Michael. Jared, Jared, here's the thing that's of concern to me. We're talking about the Fifth Circuit, okay? Hard right. This has already been litigated. And so the Republicans want to try to litigate it again, as opposed to coming up with the map. So if the Republicans come back with a map that does not follow the court's decision, then what? Because they're trying to restart the clock, and what they want is another trial, and then, too late, primaries are coming up. But here's the difference. Louisiana, their primaries are later in the year, correct?
That's correct, Roland. You're 100% correct there. Here's the thing, Roland. Their whole tactic is to delay this to the 2024 election. The court can see right through that. Judge Dick has set trial for has set the hearing for February 5th. She's already struck down their map. She's already given us a very strong 86-page opinion, and she carefully walked through every single element and issue that we have to prove to show that the map that the state passed violated Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. First, you have to show that the minority population is geographically compact and large enough to constitute a majority in a single-member district. We did that. We've submitted 8 different maps to the legislature to show that that a map can be drawn with 2 majority black districts. Second, you have to show that there's racially polarized voting. State and federal courts have ruled that racially polarized voting pervades Louisiana's elections, both locally and statewide. And third, you have to show that without a district that allows the minorities an opportunity to elect a candidate of their choice, their candidate will be soundly defeated. And we've shown that over and over and over. There have been black candidates, black choice candidates, who have ran in pretty much every single congressional district in Louisiana outside of District 2 and have been defeated. So we've proven our case, Roland. We've proven it. The district court has ruled that we've proven our case. The Fifth Circuit last year ruled in our favor and allowed our case to go forward. So, right now we're just in a process where the state is playing out every kind of delay tactic and stall tactic they can. But we certainly go into court in February very confident in the record we built, thanks to the Legislative Black Caucus, thanks to the Power Coalition and our amazing clients with the NAACP. And, we're going to walk out of court February 5th with the map in place with 2 majority black districts.
All right, then. Jared Evans with LDF, we certainly appreciate it. Keep up the good work. Thanks a lot.
No problem. Thanks for having me, Roland.
All right, folks, we're going to come back. We're going to talk to my panel about this. Again, folks, this is an assault. Let me be very clear. Everybody who's watching and listening, this is a direct assault by Republicans on black power. That's what's going on here in Louisiana. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered, broadcasting live from New Birth Missionary Baptist Church, Lithonia, Georgia. We'll be back on the Black Star Network.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds. As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
Pull up a chair, take your seat at the Black Table with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach and host of Get Wealthy. Let me hit you with a few numbers. African Americans spend 9 times the amount on ethnic beauty products and yet only own 1% of the beauty supply stores. It's an $18 billion industry. On the next Get Wealthy, you're gonna learn and hear from a woman who's turning this obstacle into an opportunity.
We literally take you from A to Z on all of the things step by step you need to have in place to open and run a very successful beauty supply store.
That's right here with me, Deborah Owens, host of Get Wealthy, only on Black Star Network.
Hey, what's up? It's Sammy Roman.
Hey, it's John Murray, the executive producer of the new Sherry Shepherd Talk Show.
It's me, Sherry Shepherd, and you know what you're watching, Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, folks, welcome back to Roland Martin Unfiltered here on the Black Star Network, broadcasting live from New Birth Missionary Baptist Church in Lithonia, Georgia, where McDonald's is hosting their Inspiration Gospel Concert in the next hour. My panel, Michael Imhotep, host, African History Network show out of Detroit, Matt Manning, civil rights attorney out of Corpus Christi, Kelly Bethel, communication strategist out of Washington, D.C. Matt, I want to start with you. This is a legal battle that's going on here. And it's beyond hilarious to watch how Republicans, they try this in Alabama, now they're trying it here, how they're trying to draw this thing out, to run the clock out so they can use an illegal map again in 2024.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to run out the clock. And the thing that's particularly problematic about this is that you already have a district judge determining that their map is not constitutional, right? So a lot of times when you have an appellate court reviewing a lower court's decision, they're going to defer to what that lower court has decided. Now, my understanding here is the Supreme Court is going to give the legislature more time, but this is one of those problematic scenarios where that doesn't make any sense, right? She's already decided that the map is not constitutional and that the map has to be redrawn. So I don't really know why the Supreme Court would allow the delay. Now, I understand it was a unanimous decision, so it sounds like it's one where the clerks and the justices have decided that maybe equity or equitable principles here in terms of time allow them to redraw the map. But the problem with this kind of thing is that in the interim, you have time going by where the map is not drawn, and you have, frankly, an emboldened state legislature that doesn't feel like it needs to adhere to the Supreme Court on any particular timetable. So that's what I think is the issue here. And I'm wondering why the Supremes didn't say, look, she's already resolved it. We're not going to get involved in this, or we're going to go ahead and send it back down and allow her to start that drawing process. So they are trying to run out the clock, and here the Supreme Court's decision essentially helps them do that rather than requiring the state legislature to get a map that is in adherence to the Constitution.
And here's the problem you have here, Kelly. One, the candidates who may run for the position, they can't run because right now there is no position. That's first. Two, as Matt said, you have a Republican legislature who can keep playing these games. And the other issue is that the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, about 25 or so judges, 22 of them have been appointed by Republican presidents. And so it is probably the hardest right-wing appeals court in the country.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I agree with Matt here regarding the Supreme Court's rationale. I feel like it was definitely more of a rules-based ruling as opposed to, what is exactly right and wrong in this situation. They clearly know something that we don't in these articles. But overall, this situation with Louisiana is just incredibly frustrating because it's clear that another majority Black district needs to exist. And the fact that they have, jumped over every single hurdle necessary as far as meeting the elements regarding Section 2, meeting the criteria necessary to arrive to this decision, and it's still not happening. It's certainly frustrating, and I don't exactly know what the solution is from here, considering that now the federal court's hands are tied behind their backs.
Michael, again, and I know people may think this has been overly dramatic, but it's not. In many ways, this just reminds me of Jim Crow days, with Supreme Court and the courts make a decision, and you have racist legislatures who are like, nah, we don't care. We're going to do what we want. That's what. And in fact, what was so crazy is that you had the Fifth Circuit played the crucial role in really defining Brown versus Board of Education. Now we have a whole different situation today.
Yeah, Roland, the fight continues, and Jim and Jane Crow had children and grandchildren, so we're still fighting the same fight. If I had a chance to ask a follow-up question to Attorney Evans, my follow-up question would have dealt with the fact that we know that Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, in her opinion, she wrote that the drawing of the new map, the U.S. Supreme Court's ruling merely delayed the process, and it should be completed in time for the 2024 election. But she also believed that Judge Shelley Dick can resume the work on new maps while the appeal is pending. So, and the question I had was, is the judge going to resume the work on the new maps? Do we have any information on that while the appeal is pending? While the appeal is pending?
Well, I'll tell you, this is the continuing battle that we see. But let me be perfectly clear to everybody who's watching. We can fight for these positions, but we also have to then turn out and actually use our power by voting. Hold tight 1 second. When we come back, I'm going to talk about the Stop Cop City initiative happening here in Atlanta. It is heating up. And we'll tell you what the latest is. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered right here on the Black Star Network, broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. Back in a moment.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in Black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause Too long have others spoken for us.
We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in Black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach and host of Get Wealthy. Let me hit you with a few numbers. African Americans spend 9 times the amount on ethnic beauty products and yet only own 1% of the beauty supply stores. It's an $18 billion industry. On the next Get Wealthy, you're going to learn and hear from a woman who's turning this obstacle into an opportunity.
We literally take you from A to Z on all of the things step by step you need to have in place to open and run a very successful beauty supply store.
That's right here with me, Deborah Owens, host of Get Wealthy, only on Black Star Network.
Hey, what's up? Geek Tony in the place to be. Got Kicked Out Your Mama's University, creator and executive producer of Fat Tuesdays, an air hip-hop comedy. But right now, I'm rolling with Roland Martin, unfiltered, uncut, unplugged, and undamn believable. You hear me?
Network. We are live here at Birth Missionary Baptist Church for the McDonald's Inspiration Celebration and Gospel Tour. This is the 4th stop in a 6-city tour. They'll be next going to Dallas, closing this thing out in Jackson, Mississippi. And so they've been to Chicago, Atlanta, Philadelphia, and now Atlanta. Speaking of Atlanta, folks, let's talk about Cop City. It is one of the huge stories that has been taking place, and activists have been trying to stop this building of a massive development, a law enforcement training center. There have been protests that have been going on, arrests taking place as well, and so now there's an effort to collect petitions, signatures to get this on the ballot. But now there's a battle between organizers of that initiative as well as the city of Atlanta. The Atlanta City Council refuses to move forward with verifying 116,000 signatures supporting this proposed referendum. Now, a new poll shows that 60% of Atlanta voters want Cop City placed on the ballot. organizers of the Stop Cop City campaign, continue to push for the referendum as Atlanta tries to decide whether or not to build this $90 million police training facility. Noah Changa joins me now from Atlanta. Noah is one of the folks who is involved in this effort to get this on the ballot. Noah, welcome to the show. So explain. So I'm trying to understand, how is the city refusing to verify the signatures? Don't they have to have a verification system to make sure that eligible voters properly sign and that this is going to be a legal initiative?
Yeah, that's a really great question. Thanks for having me on, Roland. So the city's rationale for refusing to verify has to do with some of the litigation that has happened around whether or not the referendum itself should be allowed to not only go forward, but also what was the exact date for when those signatures had to be turned in. In the summertime, organizers had actually, or those who had sued the city had actually gained extended amount of time to file those signatures. The city appealed to the 11th Circuit. We're just talking in your first segment about federal courts intervening. So they've actually been appealing to the 11th Circuit to not just get the time rolled back on when organizers had the time to collect signatures, but even to say that the referendum itself is just not even valid. There was a grant of additional time from the district court here in Georgia, but the 11th Circuit stayed that original order. So the city is saying that basically because of that stay, the additional time that was given to collect signatures is invalid, and therefore they're not required to actually count these signatures until the 11th Circuit says otherwise.
All right, so on the outside looking in, that's quite confusing because we've seen other ballot initiatives all around the country, and normally what happens is you get a certain period of time where you have to gather signatures, and then they go back and check to see if those people are city residents or if they are registered voters or whatever the city or the county or the state's process is. And so do you believe that this is an effort? And first of all, you know, what is y'all's goal? When do you want this to be on the ballot?
Well, we have municipal elections happening here in Georgia and various places in the next few weeks in November. So ideally, folks would have liked to have had it on the ballot in November. It would have been, you know, a good boon for turnout. We have some, I believe, a few school board races here in Atlanta and a couple other municipal races. But the goal is to get it on the ballot in March when we would have, we will not have a Democratic primary for president, but there will be, you know, a primary election in March here in Georgia. And so that is the goal, I believe, is to get it on the ballot then. But to your original question or point about it seems kind of confusing from looking on the outside in, you're right. We have these ballot initiative processes that are a really great sign of the health of our democracy, that individuals in their communities can rally with their neighbors and other members in their communities to get initiatives on the ballot for voters to decide. We've seen successful ballot referendum processes in the last few years, and Amendment 4 in Florida that restored voting rights to thousands of formerly incarcerated folks. That was a ballot initiative process. We just saw last year in Kansas and Michigan expanding access to abortion rights that have been denied to people post-Dobbs. Those were ballot referendum processes. We've seen in Missouri and countless other places. Right now, Ohio has a ballot initiative process. And so this is not new in the land of America, right? But what we do see happening here is a very anti-democratic, unfortunately, bipartisan effort from the state-controlled Republicans and, unfortunately, Democratic-controlled administration here in Atlanta to refuse to allow people to have access to this procedure that is used quite frequently around the country by citizens who are, duly able to do this within their rights, and for some reason they don't want Atlantans to be able to do the same thing.
Questions from the panel. Kelly, you're first.
Sure. So when it comes to those who are for it but are still understanding what the other side is thinking about regarding this issue, like what's the rationale for actually keeping Cop City around those who aren't cops? Like, have you encountered any Black people or people who would be affected by this decision who are actually for it?
I think in terms of the actual whether the referendum should be on the ballot, I mean, ultimately the issue is that there was a process that was laid out. Folks have done, I mean, we've been hearing for the past 2.5 years or so that people need to follow the process. We had folks who were at city council when this decision was first uncovered in the middle of the pandemic. There was multiple hours, like I think over 16 hours of public comment has been made on multiple different occasions. So people have been following the process about this issue and lobbying their elected officials all the way. So now we have this referendum process where 116,000 Atlantans, those who are registered voters who were registered and eligible to vote in the 2021 mayoral and city council election, 116,000 plus signed on to agree that this needs to be put on the ballot. That doesn't mean that all 116,000 agree with ultimately canceling the lease. That just means people believe that the democratic process itself needs to move forward. That is more than the 78,000 people who voted in the mayoral runoffs, in which allowed Andre Dickens, in which he got 50,000 votes to become the mayor. So the thing is, it's not so much about whether or not people agree with Cop City or want to move forward. There are some people who agree with Cop City ultimately, but also believe that the democratic process itself needs to play out. And as someplace that's the cradle of, so many movement activities, we've also seen the resurgence of pro-democracy work in our communities happening here in Georgia over the last several years. The same arguments that we have seen Brian Kemp and other statewide Republicans making against Stacey Abrams and the efforts that she led in 2018 that elected and flipped the Senate in 2020, and that also sent Reverend Warnock back to the Senate in 2022. Those same arguments are now being used by Democratic elected officials, including our mayor, against this referendum. And ultimately, whether people agree or disagree or have different issues, like the referendum itself, follow the process and it needs to be on the ballot.
Michael.
So I had a quick question here. I know Mayor Andre Dickens is for what has been dubbed Cop City, this training center. If you could just state briefly, what are some of the reasons why the mayor is for it? And I know there's a lot of opposition to it. What are some of the reasons why others are against this training facility being built and $90 million being spent for it?
I mean, I believe, brother, you said it right there. $90 million are being put forth without a proper democratic process, right? When we talk about budgets, we talk about like spending of the people's resources, the public money that's going into this for something that's ultimately backed by a private entity, the Atlanta Police Foundation. I mean, there needs to be a higher level of scrutiny, and different people have different reasons across this movement for why they object. You have environmentalists who object to many of the issues with the fact that this is on, forest land. We're supposed to be the city under the trees, and we're decimating forest land to build this, right? You have people who are, good governance and democracy folks like myself personally, who want to see actual process follow. We have seen time and again overwhelming response from people in the city who have participated in processes. My city councilwoman, my former city councilwoman, was the one that introduced this original legislation. She lost her seat in part because people like me found out when folks were going door to door that this was even something that was happening. So the fact that we have not had good transparency and good governance in the decision-making process over the past 2.5 years is a part of why people at least want to have a referendum, to have an open public process so that we can let the people decide. We elect people to go represent us. And when they're not doing that, we have referendums. We have other ways that we can help get decisions made. Now, some people do not agree with relocating the site. They are very diehard against it. And those are conversations that we all need to have as a community moving forward. But at the very most basic level, we have aspects of democratic process that have broken down in the city of Atlanta that are not being followed. And it's Democrats, unfortunately, that are coinciding alongside Republicans to make that happen.
All right, thank you.
Matt?
I have two questions that are very quick. The first is, how do you envision the opposition and really the conversation around Cop City being a model for going forward as it relates to other potential issues? And what I'm asking specifically is, it seems like here, more so than in other instances, you have a nexus of environmental interests and governance issues and justice and militarization questions, all of which are coalescing to have opposition and in some respects, people who are proponents for it. So first, how do you see this as a model going forward? in terms of how we address issues that are kind of intersectional in their nature, number one. And then number two, as it relates to the Black people who live around there, has there been conversation of like a Title VI complaint or something related to disparate impact? It's my understanding that there's supposed to potentially be an effect, a warming effect for a predominantly Black community around Cop City. Has that been discussed?
That is amazing. Your second question, as a member of the community that lives around the proposed site, no, I don't know that that is actually something that's happening. I don't think we've even had community-wide conversations for those of us in the city of Atlanta. But also to that question, there is an entire population that lives in DeKalb County, an unincorporated area, that have no say in this process at all. And so that is actually something that's a really interesting proposition that you raise. And no, I don't think that has come into any of the conversation as of yet. So the first part about how this could be a model for conversation or even just addressing opposition, I mean, a lot of these problems that we're facing nationwide or in our direct communities are multifaceted, right? They interact with things around the environment, climate change, like you said, justice issues, economics, and class analysis. But we have to have those abilities to come together and talk through these issues so that if there is something that's going before the city council, and yes, there might be a specific, justice aspect, which has drawn a lot of people to this, but being able to identify the other ways that it has impact also helps us build broader coalitions. We've seen this in electoral work more broadly when we have, different groups of people come together to support particular candidates or initiatives, right? And so I think that broader coalition mindset and being able to see how we can cut across the different work that people are doing to build, consensus around how we can move forward and bring about the change that we all deserve is important. The other thing, because I think the sister's original question about what about people who might feel that this is something that they need or the conversations, we do need to have these conversations in our community, right? And I don't think that that requesting that the referendum itself be on the ballot is a shutdown. That's another area of conversation. That's another area of outreach that needs to happen for whoever is supporting whichever side, right? But at the very least, we need to make sure that when we do have very clear interests of communities that are in question, that we are allowed to have the forums that are available to all of us, regardless of neighborhood, socioeconomic status, and who we're donating to, that can actually be something that we access through the democratic process as we're allegedly supposed to do as citizens in this country.
All right, Noah Changa, we surely appreciate it. Thanks a bunch, and we'll keep monitoring this story to see what happens. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for having me.
Folks, we come back. Jim Jordan is not going to be the next Speaker of the House. Boy, more nuttiness happening on Capitol Hill. But also, when we come back, we'll talk about a case out of here, Atlanta. Another one of Trump's insurrectionists pleads guilty. Fonnie Willis has another feather in her cap. We'll tell you about that. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds. As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys. This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
On a next, A Balanced Life with me, Dr. Jackie. Being of service to others is one of the greatest callings in life. but being there for someone else in their time of crisis is a whole new level, and you have to bring courage, commitment, and strength. On our next show, we meet two real-life angels who were thrust in the midst of caregiving and without warning.
And he was looking strange and couldn't cut his meat. And it was very odd. And I said, well, what's wrong? And he says, I think I've had a stroke. And so, of course, it scared me. And we literally got in the car and he walked into the hospital on a Thursday. And by Saturday of that same week, he lost all control of his left side.
The blessings, the challenges, and the way they maintain their balance, all next on A Balanced Life on Black Star Network.
Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm Devon Franklin. It is always a pleasure to be in the house. You are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered. Stay right here.
So a couple of the people with Donald Trump who were indicted by Fulton County DA Fani Willis, they wanted an expedited trial. Kenneth Chesborough and Sidney Powell. They were like, hey, we want to go to trial. Fani Willis said, not a problem. We're good. Let's go. Yesterday, Sidney Powell pled guilty. Today, Kenneth Chesborough pled guilty. He pled guilty to a felony count. I tell you what, Matt, these folks were messing around, and now they are pleading guilty. They're going to have to testify against the other people involved. Trust me. So here you have a number of people indicted. 3 have now pled. Here's my advice to the rest of these people. Man, you better go cut you a deal as fast as possible, or otherwise you're going to be last man, last woman standing.
First, I want to say about Fani Willis, I don't know if you know, but you know, happy homecoming to my fellow alumnus of the illustrious Howard University. But this is what we talked about happening, Roland. I knew this was going to happen, and I read about both of their plea deals. I don't think they explicitly mentioned Mr. Trump. But what I think is especially important for people to realize about this is one of the things that is sacred in the lawyer-client relationship is communication and privilege. So one of the questions I had was, how do you pierce that, right? Because a lawyer is entitled to advise their client, to give them advice in their interest. But one of the ways that a lawyer can break privilege is if he or she has to respond to accusations about their conduct. So I tell you all that to say that should let people know there's some pretty compelling evidence here against both of these attorneys, because they're not normal defendants in that a lot of their communications and involvement in what might otherwise be termed a conspiracy might be privileged. So for both of them to ask for speedy trials and then cut deals, this goes along the lines of what we're talking about on the show and have for many weeks now, that people were going to start dropping like flies. And that's exactly what you're seeing. And obviously, Mr. Trump's team is looking at the evidence here. But if I were representing him on his criminal defense case, this would concern me mightily, right? Because not only have they cut deals and not only have those deals gotten them out of hot water, and they're the first deals, but their deals both require that they testify truthfully against the other co-conspirators. I don't know what that looks like against Mr. Trump, but the problem is, if I'm a prosecutor, I say this is not only somebody that he conspired with, this is somebody with whom he conspired, with whom he had the highest level of purported trust, somebody he can give secrets, who is legally bound to not divulge those secrets. So I don't know what that means in the larger context of their prosecution of Mr. Trump, but just from the outside looking in, it would concern me mightily if I were on his team, and it would concern me as to the strength of our defense, because now people he's talked to in the most intimate of terms, if you will, as it relates to the actions, are now going to have to sing like canaries, and that's going to be a big problem for him, I would suspect.
I mean, the thing here, Mike, is these are the two leading figures who were in the room when these things were going down. And so what's interesting to me is that they play it, and based upon one story that we saw, the Trump team was absolutely shocked to hear about these plea deals.
Well, that's hilarious right there. But first of all, yes, Fonnie Willis is brilliant, and she graduated from Howard University. Now, I didn't graduate from the illustrious Howard University. I graduated from Wayne State University here in Detroit. But Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated was founded at Howard University, so I do have HU in my blood. Now, I said that pipe down, Kelly. Now, I said that this was going to happen. None of these people are willing to go to prison for Trump. He's not going to become president again, most likely. He won't be able to give them a pardon because this is a state case, not a federal case, so he can't pardon them here. So you're going to have more of them turning state's witness, taking plea deals. They're not willing to go to prison for Trump, and this is a key piece of the puzzle here, Chesebro, because he was central to organizing the fake electors, the fake slate of electors plot, and this spread over 7 states, including the state of Michigan. Okay, so he knows a lot more than a lot of these other people, and it's going to be a whole lot of them singing, and a lot of people are going to go to prison. I think Trump's going to be convicted in this case as well. So once again, it's important for everybody to understand the main reason why you have this prosecution is because Fonnie Willis was voted into office. Okay, you had the right prosecutor voted into office to actually take action against people who are violating the rights of Georgians, especially African Americans in Georgia who voted for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. I can't hear Roland.
You got me here?
Yeah, hear you now.
You got me on this microphone here? All right, folks. So the thing here, Kelly, a lot of these legal analysts and experts were saying, Fonnie Willis, what is she doing? She's being too aggressive. She's not ready for trial in October. Looks like she was right.
That's absolutely right. And if you are a good prosecutor and you have a fabulous team, of course you're going to be ready for trial, because let's think about it. She had 2 years worth of stuff to build on. And if she started from the time it happened, it's been 2 years. So in my head, that seems like ample amount of time to get ready for a case. So it's not like, oh, the charges were filed and all of a sudden we got to scramble to get a case done. No, that's bad lawyering, frankly. And I think it's the hubris of Trump's team and Trump's cronies team thinking that they had absolutely nothing to worry about for these past 2 years, even though the writing was on the wall for it, such that they haven't prepped at all. So it really is on them that they're scrambling for these things. And that's probably why you got these deals on the table right now, because they're not ready for trial. And frankly, I feel like these people know that they did some dumb crap. So all's well that ends well in my book. I think this is fabulous.
We're going to talk about Jim Jordan. Man, he just keeps taking L's. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered right here on the Black Star Network, broadcasting live from Birth Missionary Baptist Church in Atlanta, Georgia. Back in a moment.
Next, A Balanced Life with me, Dr. Jackie. Being of service to others is one of the greatest callings in life. But being there for someone else in their time of crisis is a whole new level, and you have to bring courage, commitment, and strength. On our next show, we meet 2 real-life angels who were thrust in the midst of caregiving and without warning.
And he was looking strange and couldn't cut his meat. And it was very odd. And I said, well, what's wrong? And he says, I think I've had a stroke. And so, of course, it scared me. And we literally got in the car and he walked into the hospital on a Thursday. And by Saturday of that same week, he lost all control of his left side.
The blessings, the challenges, and the way they maintain their balance, all next on A Balanced Life on Black Star Network.
I'm Deborah Owens, America's wealth coach and host of Get Wealthy. Let me hit you with a few numbers. African Americans spend 9 times the amount on ethnic beauty products and yet only own 1% of the beauty supply stores. It's an $18 billion industry. On the next Get Wealthy, you're going to learn and hear from a woman who's turning this obstacle into an opportunity.
We literally take you from A to Z on all of the things step by step you need to have in place to open and run a very successful beauty supply store.
That's right here with me, Deborah Owens, host of Get Wealthy, only on Black Star Network.
Bruce Smith, creator and executive producer of The Proud Family, Louder and Prouder, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, folks, today on Capitol Hill, Republicans again can't pick a Speaker of the House. This is what happened when Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan forced a third vote to try to make him the Speaker.
The tellers agree in their tally that the total number of votes cast is 429, of which the Honorable Jim Jordan of the state of Ohio has received 194. The Honorable Hakeem Jeffries of the state of New York has received 210. The Honorable Patrick McHenry of the state of North Carolina has received 6. All right, the House will come to order. The House will come to order. The Honorable Baron Donalds of the state of Florida has received 2. The Honorable Tom Emmer of the state of Minnesota has received 1. Lee Zeldin of the state of New York has received 4. The Honorable Steve Scalise of the state of Louisiana has received 8. The Honorable Mike Garcia of the state of California has received 1. The Honorable Kevin McCarthy of the state of California has received 2. The Honorable Bruce Westerman of the state of Arkansas has received 1. No person having received a majority of the whole number of votes cast by surname, a speaker has not been elected. Pursuant to Clause 12A of Rule 1, the chair declares the House in recess, subject to the call of the chair.
These people literally do not know what they're doing. Now, here's what was crazy, y'all. Jim Jordan called a news conference for 8 o'clock this morning, all right? Now, last night, 20 of these Republicans told him to his face, say, bro, you're not going to be the Speaker. We are not voting for you. But he was like, okay, I'm still going to push it. And he kept telling everybody, I'm going to be the next Speaker. So each vote they've had, he's lost more votes. This, to me, Kelly, is just beyond hilarious. So let's see. They're rejecting a temporary deal with McHenry. They have rejected McCarthy, rejected Scalise, rejected Jordan. Hey, well, what they gonna do now? This is, again, these are people who are totally dysfunctional.
It would be funny, like if this were happening in a vacuum, I would be guffawing right now. This would look exactly like a comedy show. It looks like a sketch from like early days of SNL where just, chaos ensues, right? But the fact of the matter is, people are dying. Bills need to be paid. And Congress needs to function. None of those things are happening because of the chaos of one party. One party. And that is what's frustrating me. Like, yes, in a vacuum, this is funny. I have to admit that I howled laughing when McHenry angrily did the gavel like it was the hammer of Thor the first time. Like, that was funny to me. But it's getting even more ridiculous than it was that day because people are putting themselves over the people that they represent. And that is just frustrating. It is unfortunately expected now of the Republican Party, but it is still frustrating nonetheless. And like I said, there's a war in Israel right now that apparently we got to fund. There's a war in Ukraine that we got to fund. Guess who holds those purse strings? House of Congress, like House of Representatives, hold those purse strings and nothing can be done. Oh, by the way, we still have a government shutdown that could be happening within the month because all of this stuff is happening and nobody's getting anything done. So yes, it's funny, but all of these things that I just listed out is still happening in the background and it's still going to happen whether we have a speaker or not. And the chaos that is going to be compounded on top of the chaos that we already have, all this is going to do is affect the American people, and that's just sad.
But this is what happens, Matt, when you got hardcore MAGA right-wingers trying to control this whole process. That's what you're seeing right here, point blank. And Democrats are just sitting here saying, please, by all means, be my guest and act a fool.
Yeah, you're right, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I was chomping at the bit to answer. This is not only what you have when you have MAGA Republicans doing that. This is what you have when they think there is political capital to play these kinds of games. I mean, Kelly hit the nail on the head. We have serious issues that need to be resolved, and what we're seeing is the extension of the political theater that has become part and parcel, not only with MAGA Republicans, but with a lot of politicians in general. At the end of the day, I don't get to not pay my student loans because I can't get it together because the government is coming to collect. So the House does not get to not do its work because they can't stop playing political theater games. I, for one, wanted Jim Jordan to become the House Speaker because I think it would have just been a new level of idiocy and it would have just shown how bad and how dysfunctional Congress can be, especially those who are obstinate as a matter of political identity, not obstinate because they're really against the substantive bill, but obstinate because they want to grind the whole process to a halt. But the part of this that is frustrating is that as an American who's watching the prices go up at the grocery store and who has concerns for their children's education and all kinds of things that are funded by Congress, they're playing games in D.C. while the rest of us try to figure out how to live our lives, right? And a lot of that is incidental to what they do in terms of policy. So I mean, it's inherent. They're going to cast votes and you're going to have this process, but it's been hijacked by those MAGA Republicans and those seeking their own political will and to cement their political futures. And we hang in the balance of that. And I'm hoping that, you know, they get over themselves and get a speaker so they can get the work that is necessary to be done.
And very simple, Michael, I gotta remind people, how we vote in these congressional races determines who controls the House, Republicans or Democrats. So if you don't like what's going on here, throw those bums out next November.
Absolutely. And this is something that I warned people about during the 2022 midterm elections when Republicans took back control of the House, because during the first 2 years of the Trump administration, there were 3 government shutdowns, and Republicans controlled the House, the Senate, and the White House. These people cannot govern. It's easy when you're in the minority just to say no to everything and vote against bills that are beneficial to everyday Americans. But when you actually have to govern, you have to be able to pass bills. Jim Jordan has not passed a single bill that he has sponsored in 16 years that he's been in the House of Representatives. He is a chaos agent. He was instrumental in organizing the coup to overthrow the government. So this is more nonsense. And when we look at Matt Gaetz now, you know, have a lot of Republicans who are mad at Matt Gaetz. And basically what Matt Gaetz did was he jumped out of an airplane and is reading the instructions on how to use the parachute on the way down. They didn't have a backup strategy on this. Okay. Kelly's correct. November 17th, the government can shut down. And it's really important for us to understand how to protect ourselves from crazy people like this. we have to vote them out of office. The difference between Hakeem Jeffries being Speaker of the House and Jim Jordan or Steve Scalise or any of these other Republicans, Kevin McCarthy, is 7,000 votes in a handful of House districts. They did a recount. Lauren Boebert only won by 546 votes in Colorado. Okay, so it's like, this is doable. Okay, but you can't push your issues that you say that you want. Going back to the conversation we had last week, Roland, all these people saying we want this, this, and this, ain't never read the U.S. Constitution, don't know how to get bills passed. Okay, you can't say you want this, but you don't vote for people who want what you want. So elections impact every aspect of our lives. We have to do better.
Absolutely. All right, Kelly, Michael, Matt, I certainly appreciate y'all joining us on today's show. Thank you so very much, folks. When we come back, we will share with you one-on-one interview I did with one of the gospel artists performing right behind me here in Atlanta at Birth Missionary Baptist Church as part of McDonald's Inspiration, Celebration, and Gospel Tour. That is next right here on the Black Star Network.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it.
This is about covering us.
Invest in black-owned media.
Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks.
We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible.
Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
I'm Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach and host of Get Wealthy. Let me hit you with a few numbers. African Americans spend 9 times on ethnic beauty products and yet only own 1% of the beauty supply stores. It's an $18 billion industry. On the next Get Wealthy, you're gonna learn and hear from a woman who's turning this obstacle into an opportunity.
We literally take you from A to Z on all of the things step by step you need to have in place to open and run a very successful beauty supply store.
That's right here with me, Deborah Owens, host of Get Wealthy, only on Black Star Network.
Peace, I'm Faraji Muhammad, host of The Culture. And brothers, we need to talk. There's been much discussion about the state of the black man in our community, whether it's in politics, education, or in the home. My brothers, we are struggling to lead the way, which is why The Culture will be hosting the Black Men Summit, where we'll be redefining and celebrating black manhood. This special series will kick off on the 28th anniversary of the historic Million Man March on Monday, October the 16th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll be talking to some of Black America's most prolific, dynamic, thought-provoking black men activists, scholars, and leaders about our role, our power, and our future. So tune in and join the conversation as an online culture crew member for The Culture's Black Men Summit, redefining and celebrating black manhood. Starting Monday, October 16th through Friday, October 20th, 4 p.m. Eastern Time each day, right here, exclusively here on the Black Star Network.
Me, Sherry Shepard, with Sammy Roman.
I'm Dr. Robin B., pharmacist and fitness coach, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Black Star Network. We are live here at New Birth Missionary Baptist Church in Lithonia, Georgia, where McDonald's is holding their fourth stop on their Inspiration Celebration Gospel Tour. And so as we are watching this, Tim Bowman Jr. is on stage right now. And so we were previously in Chicago and Detroit. This tour stopped in Philadelphia. They're here in Atlanta. Then they'll be next in Dallas and then Jackson, Mississippi. And so we had an opportunity to sit down with all of the artists, talk to them about their life, their careers. And Mike Teasy is a young brother who is a rapper, a dancer. And so he has a whole different lane he operates in when it comes to gospel music. And so here is our conversation.
Doing good, man. How you been?
All good. You're on
Yes,
this
sir.
McDonald's tour.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about the opportunity to mix it up with this group of varied artists.
Listen, man, this is like a group of my favorite artists, which is crazy. So to be on the same show along with them, it's just, it speaks volumes to what God is doing right now in this season for my life, for my music ministry. So I'm just excited. It's gonna be dope.
When did you make the switch, if you will, or decide, you know what, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
This is where I want to go.
So I was in college and I got a call that one of my friends, we were the co-captains of the basketball team, and I got a call that he was shot and killed.
Wow.
And he's
Where
the
was
one that
that?
gave me the name. I'm actually in Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Got it.
So that's where I graduated high school. But I was in college in Charlotte. And so I got the call and I was like, you know what, tomorrow isn't promised. You know? And at the time I was still dancing. Like, I have a huge background in dance.
Right.
Like, that's where my main focus was. But I always had a passion for music. And out of that, it kind of just birthed what I'm doing now, as far as like rapping and singing and dancing and bringing it all together for the kingdom. But
So you get this call.
yeah.
And look, I mean, the reality is, like a lot of young folks,
Yeah.
you think you live forever.
Right.
And you just sort of just go about and doing
Exactly.
whatever.
Exactly.
And then when you get that call,
Yeah.
then that's when you
Yeah,
go,
home. Yeah.
wait a minute, I gotta make a decision
Yeah.
and commit to something.
Exactly. So that's exactly what I did. So matter of fact, it was around New Year's. It was a New Year's Eve service, and where I decided to rededicate my life to God. And so, I walked up after the sermons went forth, and they started praying for people. And I was like, you know what, let me just go ahead and rededicate my life to God right now. Like, get it right now and just stick to it.
But how do you deal with the folks who say that what you do and what you bring to gospel, that ain't gospel? Because
Right.
again,
I get that.
there you go. You see, like, you hear it.
Yeah. I get that a lot, and so for me, it's been a lot of either blocking, deleting, stuff like that, because we're in a social media age. So you get a lot of different people, different audiences, different backgrounds. A lot of people think it's taboo to do Christian hip hop still to this day. People been doing it for years. You know what I'm saying? So I've had deacons in our church that was trying to rap and stuff like that. It wasn't all that good, but they did it. They thought that was a way to reach the youth, and now I'm doing the same thing. It's just like, it's like a pass down type thing. So every year, every generation, every new person that's coming up is going to be doing the same thing as far as spreading the gospel to different people in a new way. So.
Well, I mean, the reality is, if you study the history of music,
yeah,
especially the history of gospel,
yeah,
what is now considered traditional,
yeah,
was radical.
Exactly.
I mean, here we are in Chicago.
Yeah.
It wasn't like folks were going, oh, this new Thomas Dorsey sound is off the chain.
Yeah.
No, it was like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
And then as you just keep going, when the Hawkins family did,
Right.
Oh Happy Day.
Yeah.
What is wrong? And you listen to Oh Happy Day now, you
Right.
going,
Yeah.
why were they tripping?
Exactly. This seems normal. Exactly.
And so, to me, that's always the crazy thing, as opposed to, okay, how do you use music to reach folks, to touch folks? Because you have to go beyond the borders of the church.
Exactly. That's facts. Beyond the four walls. Yeah. And that's where we at now.
And so now when you meet other artists, have you had other folks who say, you know what, now I now can do that. I'm more comfortable.
Exactly.
Because I see you doing it.
Exactly. So I've actually, I've gotten several messages from different people just saying like, yo, you inspire me. And I'm like, me? Like, I'm just trying to be obedient to what God had me doing right now. And it's definitely a blessing. You know what I'm saying? It's a attest to who I am in Christ, who I am as a believer. You know what I'm saying? And just being that willing vessel. You know what I'm saying? To let somebody else know you can do it too.
And do they really get mad with the dancing part?
Listen. So I was raised in the church. And we used to dance on Youth Sunday.
Right.
So we would dance to like Todd Tribbett, Kirk Franklin, stuff like that. And it was taboo to listen to Kirk Franklin because, you know, he jumped on chairs and tables doing whatever he wanted to do because he was radical.
When Stomp came out,
Stomp was crazy.
Oh, man, how dare you use that sound?
Yeah. Yep. And so that's where it kind of started. So I kind of got accustomed to that. You know, people are not going to be okay with everything I do, but as long as God is okay with it, I'm okay with it.
Because Kirk could be on stage and be doing James Brown moves.
Facts, yeah.
You know, I think I've seen Kirk do every move except the split. I think he did all the James Brown except the split.
Yeah, he got to do that next. He got to do that next for sure. Yeah. If he don't, I'm gonna beat him to it. So yeah.
Have you and he ever had a conversation?
So we've actually met. What's crazy is I was supposed to open for him in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, at the Dash Stadium. It's our baseball team.
Right.
And it was crazy, raining, all that stuff. So he's still performing. I was like, yo, I'm about to go next, like right after him. And didn't work out. The stage that they had me on was a whole different stage somewhere else. And I'm like, I thought I was on that stage. So my high hopes was crashed.
Kirk was on the main stage.
He was on the main stage. I didn't even know there was different stages.
You on the side stage.
That was rained on, puddles everywhere. I was like, I'm gonna bust my face. And at that time, I was still doing flips and stuff. I still do one every now and then. But yeah, I was like, that was part of my set. I would do a backflip, break dance, whatever. And I was like, I can't do this on the stage. Like, it's wet, it's puddles everywhere. I might break my neck today. I don't
know. You remember at the Super Bowl, Prince had them two dancers out there in them 6-inch heels.
That's crazy.
And they would get it in the rain.
Yeah, I ain't doing that. That's different. That was Purple Rain. I ain't doing that. But nah, yeah, that was definitely crazy. But then I got a chance to meet him in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Right.
He's like maybe right under my shoulder. And
okay, that was some quick shade there.
He's one of my favorite gospel artists.
That was some quick.
But nah. So he was like right under my shoulder. So he grabbed my shoulder and he was like, "You look familiar." And I was like, "Oh, for real?" He was like, "Yeah, I don't know where from." And I was like, "Probably from Winston-Salem. I was supposed to open for you, or whatever." So yeah, that was a dope meeting for sure. Just to talk to him and take a picture with him. Just a little bit of time that we had. So that was dope.
Gotcha. So but I mean, so you haven't had opportunity
not to dance or open for him, not yet.
Really?
I say yet because it's probably what you say. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
So you ain't had your people hit him? You ain't had your like
we working on it. We working on it.
Huh?
We working on it.
What y'all do? Y'all send them a letter or something?
I have no idea, but we gonna figure it out. How about that? We gonna figure it out. Matter of fact, I did a video to like kind of honor him, and I did a remake of his song Revolution. And I called it The New Revolution. So I did a remake of the whole video, the whole nine, had the mic, the little silver background. I did everything. He still ain't seen it yet. So we gonna figure that out. We still trying to figure that out.
He ain't seen it?
He ain't seen it yet.
You seen it?
And it went viral. It went viral on TikTok, Instagram, everything.
Hold up, what's the video? Is it on your Instagram?
It's on my Instagram.
Hold up,
it's on YouTube, everywhere.
Hold up.
Mike Teasy, The New Revolution.
So you did the whole
nine.
Oh Lord.
The white jacket, the bubble coat with the with the goggles on the forehead.
Where's this video? Where's
everything?
Where'd you do that video?
It's far. It's a long time ago.
Where'd you do that video?
Maybe a couple years ago.
Man, all that and he ain't. Come on,
He ain't seen it yet. Todd Tribbett, I sent it to him. He saw it. He was like, "Man, this is fire," but he ain't sent it to me.
That's cold.
But it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
That's cold. I don't understand. I don't understand what your people doing, what they not doing.
Yeah.
What's going on?
It's gonna happen.
So you did the whole
nine, and I did backflip in the
video. As if you were making a whole new video or something.
Exactly. Had the dancers in there, everything.
I think that's cold blooded. I think that's cold blooded. And so everybody else, so he ain't even tapped on.
He ain't seen it yet.
He ain't even. What was that? 2-3 years ago?
2 years ago. At least 2 years ago.
Yeah. You gonna have to tell your people. You got to tell your people.
For sure.
Y'all gotta do better.
Yes, sir.
You got to tell them they gotta do better.
Yeah.
All right. Hold on 1 second. Let me see if he answered his phone. I don't know what he's doing. This don't make no sense. This don't make no sense. You did a video 2-3 years ago and the brother ain't seen it.
Yeah.
He ain't even comment on it. Okay. I don't want to do this here. Kirk.
Yes.
I'm sitting here in Chicago, bruh, and I'm doing these interviews for the McDonald Gospel Concert Tour. And I'm talking to a young brother right here who said he was supposed to dance on the stage with you, but it rained. But then he said he did his whole music, I can't tell it. His name, Mike Teasy.
Yes, sir.
Mike, and so he's going to tell you, Kirk, he did a whole video for you. He's like, man, I did the whole video. It went viral. Man, the brother he didn't even give me a heart, a like, or nothing. So I said, wait, did you send it to him? He said, send the Thai tribute. Everybody showed me some love. He said, Kirk ain't said nothing. I said, that ain't how we do it in Texas. I said, so I got to call Kirk right now, and we got to rectify the situation. Okay? Okay, so, go ahead. Put your clothes on. Put your clothes on. Kirk in the bathroom. I don't know.
Oh, man.
He's about to brush his teeth.
Okay,
I can see his electronic toothbrush right here. So you see how we roll.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's dope.
I'm about to hand him the phone. You like, where he at? You ain't even the picture. Oh, here we go. All right, now you can.
What's going on, sir?
Man, I am so sorry, King.
It's all good. It's all good.
I mean, I didn't mean nothing by it, man. And I'm quite sure it was fire, too, man.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. It's definitely fire.
But tell what it is.
I did your challenge, too. That joint went viral, too. You ain't seen it.
Man, I missed everything. I'm so sorry.
It's all good.
Well, don't hate me, man. Don't give up on me, man. Let me
Look, I'll DM it to you right now.
But, man, congratulations for whatever it is you're doing, King.
I appreciate that. Yes, sir.
And keep being great, brother. I'm sorry. Give me another chance.
Nah, I know you got millions and millions of people that's probably hitting you every day, but I'ma send you.
Okay, tell Roland to text it to me.
All right, say less. I got you.
All right, King.
All right, God bless.
All right, Kirk. I'll holler at you, my brother.
Roland Martin, talk to you later.
All right, my brother. Be well. Peace.
That's dope. That's dope. That's crazy.
So you talking about the backflips and everything like that?
Backflips, yeah.
But here's why I don't understand why people trip on it. I was listening to one of William Murphy's songs, and I think, and he goes, "Did they just do a backflip?" That's what the praise dancers do. So why do people trip when you do it? But literally, praise dancers doing it.
Yeah. I think what's crazy is like
maybe you put on a leotard or a tutu.
Nah, I ain't doing
then
that.
It's fine.
Nah, I ain't doing that. What's crazy, like my dad had a background in dancing too.
Okay.
And so when he got saved and rededicated his life, he felt that was like a sin for him. To dance. So when I was coming up, dancing was my thing.
Dancers.
Dancing was my thing, and he was like, "Son, you ain't doing that." Da da da. But so what a lot of people don't know is I've been paralyzed twice in my life. At the age of 7, I was run over by a drunk driver. My legs were twisted the opposite way. Doctor said I would never walk again. But God healed me in 20 minutes like that.
Wow.
No surgery, no nothing. God just healed me. So I'm doing flips out the hospital.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I'm a kid. I'm 7 years old.
Don't tell me you're going to be paralyzed. So we about to flip.
Okay. So from that moment on, I've still been dancing, still been flipping. And then in 2005, I was in a bad car accident. My lumbar 2, which is lower your back, it was snapped. It was broken. You can see where the bones were laying on top of each other.
Whoa.
And the doctors tell me again, I'll be paralyzed for the rest of my life. I'll never walk again. But in the second x-ray, you see where the bones came back together. The same night. God healed me just like that. And so I'm like...
The first x-ray, you literally
can see the bones laying on top of each other. The first x-ray. So 2 or 3 hours go by, they switched shifts. They got a new doctor come in. They was like, you might have to take another look.
Now that you rededicate your life before that
this
or
was
after that?
After. This was after.
Oh, yeah. I'm about to say.
This was after, yeah.
I'm like...
Because 2005, I was still in high school. So, yeah, that was crazy. So you can see where the bones were laying on top of each other. And then the next doctor comes in, they were like,
oh, yeah,
y'all might have to take another look.
You ain't going to stop that.
Yeah, I can't. So my dad was like, son, like, I don't get it. You need to stop doing this, da, da, da. I was like, Dad, listen, like, God healed me. This is how I'm praising God. This is how I'm showing, like, what he's done for me in my life. And he was like, you know what? I'm quiet. Say less. Like, exactly.
So you got a point.
Exactly. He couldn't say nothing else.
You got a point.
He couldn't say nothing else. So after that day, he's been in full support.
See, what sort of drives me crazy is, first of all, when you see people praise dancing, when you see them sitting there clapping their foot, stomping their feet, running around, whatever, I'm trying to figure out that ain't that.
I mean, hey, you know track star, why you running around the church?
Right.
Like, I've seen people like literally just running.
They be running, yeah.
They got some speed, you know. But I just don't get why. I think what bothers me the most is when people are so boxed in. They have so many constraints. And they want to. Really, what they're doing is they're suppressing the Holy Spirit. Because see, here's what I don't understand. I was joking with another artist about this here. We talked to. I said, look, I'm born and raised Catholic, so we know Scripture. So I don't know which one it is, but all I do know is David danced.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm just trying to understand. Folk tripping.
He definitely danced for sure.
If David, so what do you think David was doing?
I have no idea.
What? Think he was doing a two-step? Like what? I mean, I don't understand. That's what trips me out when people. I remember there was a point when they didn't. Oh no, you have guitars, and drums, and all that.
Drums was
crazy. They play music, play instruments,
tambourines. All of that. Trumpets.
That's probably the one that drives me crazy the most. Yeah. When folk really want to put constraints on the Holy Spirit. Yeah. And not, I mean, first of all, it ain't like twerking is going on. I mean, there are limitations. Jesus, there are limitations. I mean, there's a limitations in dance, but my goodness, it's not. To me, it's. I just think some people are just so hardcore, and then they end up turning people off, people away.
Exactly. I experienced that even like in multiple churches. You know, North Carolina is known for a ton of churches. Right. So I've performed in almost every church in, the Triad area. And this one ministry I went in, and I had a hat on, and it said Jesus on it. And I guess they thought I was just somebody from the outside, but I was actually an artist that was booked to perform at this church, at this event. And the guy was like, you can come in here with that hat on. And I was like, it say Jesus. Like, at that time.
You're like, I'm just saying.
The hat says
it don't
Jesus,
say Panthers or the Hornets.
Right.
It say Jesus.
It say Jesus. And in that time, too, I was young, just getting started in the music and stuff. I was like, yo, this is my covering. Like, this is how I know that, God is the first thing they're going to see. And they was like, you got to take your hat off. I was like, you know what? All right, bet. So I went in and performed, and he couldn't say nothing else. He had to come to me and apologize because the Holy Spirit fell in that place. It fell.
But my passion, Houston, Ralph Douglas West, they had a meeting of, I forgot what church they were at, and it was a pastoral meeting. And so they're sitting here in the meeting, and I forgot what it was about, because he talked about this in a sermon. And he said, I think that was a point when they were about to pray. He said, hold up. He said, before we start praying, he said, we need to address something before we pray. He said, when I walked into this church, he said, y'all got a sign on the wall that says, come as you are. He said,
that's real.
But if a homeless woman walked in here with some shorts on, pushing a baby in a stroller, y'all would deny. I think it was come as you are, but they also had rules. I know what it was. It was come as you are, but they had rules that women could not wear pants. And he said, I got a problem with come as you are.
Right.
And your rules on what women can wear.
That's crazy.
And all the pastors kind of like, and he's like, so he said, either you're going to take the sign down.
Right.
He said, or you're going to change your rules.
Facts.
And I think that sort of speaks to that right there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now, have you had some folks also, like some artists have writers, and they're like, look, you can't do this, and then you kind of like, we ain't going to have no show.
Right. I haven't turned them away because I feel like once people actually witness, you know what I'm saying, my ministry, if you will.
Oh, so when they gave you the rules, you go, okay,
say less.
You go, okay.
And then I still do my thing.
When you go out there, you start flipping and stuff.
Exactly.
And then you go, see?
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like when people hear my story and then they see what God has done for me, right? It's a difference. Right. But when they just already perceive an idea and like, yo, he's just dancing, he's trying to show off, he's flipping, he's trying to show off. Nah, like, this is how I glorify God. Like, this is my way of doing it. Let me do that. I don't want to put restraints on how I glorify God.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. And again, if it's doing what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
If it's reaching the next generation, if it's touching them, if it's empowering them, well, that's exactly what you were supposed to be.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, I just again, look, he didn't work with me. He always like, he said, are there no rules you don't break? He calls me habitual line crosser. Because, you know, when somebody say, you can't do this, and I go, do the same thing. Okay.
Still cross them.
Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I really don't, like, I really
That's a
do
nice
not
term.
care.
Habitual line crosser.
A habitual line crosser. Yeah.
That's dope.
And you agree with him. You're like, oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So, you know, when I go out there, you know exactly what's going to happen. Oh, yeah, we leaping over the line. You leaping. And I dare you try to walk out here and stop me, because you're going to then deal with the crowd.
Exactly.
And then it's going to be a problem. Exactly. There you go. So maybe the next hat you should get is habitual line crosser.
Say less. I'm going to get my designer to work on that.
Habitual line crosser in the name of Jesus. That's what it should be. That's the next hat that you should get.
In the name of Jesus.
Yeah, in the name of Jesus. Because first of all, you know, when you throw Jesus on...
Yeah, it's good.
It's going to be hard for them to argue.
That's facts.
It's sort of like a bad preacher, okay, who is horrible at giving a sermon. And I know one right now.
Oh, man.
And all of his sermons bad. No. But he going to end every sermon, he going to go to the cross. Every one. Because if you go to the cross, it's a guaranteed shout.
You can't go wrong with the cross.
I don't care how bad the sermon is. Black people going to automatically going to give you a guaranteed shout. Yeah. The whole sermon is awful. Awful.
That's crazy.
I mean, I know one preacher, again, I ain't going to name him. So, look, my wife will tell you who's a damn minister. Like, when I'm doing sermon notes, and you ain't saying nothing, my sheet, it's going to have a date, the church, the name of the pastor, the title of the sermon, the scripture, it ain't nothing else. That you ain't said nothing for me to want to write down. And she look over and she see.
Dang.
She go, you ain't feeling the sermon? I'm like, nope. And then I sit there and I'm like, he gonna go to the cross.
And sure enough, that's what he do.
On Friday.
That's crazy.
But on Sunday morning, see, that's the only shout he gets in the whole sermon.
That's crazy.
That's what they gonna do.
That's crazy.
It's guaranteed. It's a guaranteed shout.
That's real.
It's a guaranteed shout. It's gonna always happen, and they give it to him, and you like.
You got to be okay with it.
Right. That's it. So that's as you hit them with. So last question for you.
Yes, sir.
What city for you really feels what you do? Like when you travel, like what place they like, yo, I don't care who, we got to go see him.
Listen, to point out one city is tough because everyone shows love. But I was just in Houston. It was hot, over 100 degrees outside.
Okay. So
it was a festival.
I'm born and raised there.
6 people.
Wait a minute, you said 100 degrees. Like, okay, that's April.
Listen, it was like 100 and at least 10. Felt like maybe 20. I don't know.
No,
it was hot.
No, it was hot. It hit the highest. No, it tied the highest. It was 109. No, I know.
Yeah, it was hot.
Right.
But they was out there singing their lungs out, jumping around.
There you go.
It was a crowd of people. I'm like, yo, it's too hot. Get away from me type deal.
No.
They was loving it. I said, well, praise God.
We ain't worried about heat.
That's crazy.
Wear your hat, put on sunscreen, drink some water. That's all
I think they lost the water. They didn't drink the water because people was passing out. And
see, there you go, right there. They were dehydrated.
Yeah.
Dehydrated.
Yeah, but it was awesome though. It was dope.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right, H-Town. Okay. All right. No, actually, here's the last question. Okay, so blame this on Bree Babineau.
Okay.
Okay. So I talked to her, and in the midst of our conversation, I made a reference to the Commodores and Zoom, and she had no idea what I was talking about.
Okay.
One, are you familiar with the Commodore song Zoom?
I have to hear it, but I know the name.
Okay, at least you know the name.
I know the name, yeah.
She didn't know the name. I said Lionel Richard. She thought I said Little Richard. I did.
That's crazy.
I'm going to need you to pull aside.
Okay.
Okay, then I threw a second name out. She had no idea, and then that's when I took a black card. And I told her right now it's in review status, and the committee is assessing whether you get it back.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to throw this name out.
Okay.
Jeffrey Osborne.
I heard the name. Can't think of a song.
You can't think of a song.
Can't think of a song.
But you heard the name.
I heard the name.
She didn't even know what LTD was. That was the group he was in. What did she say? Larry, Tom, and Dick? That was she called them in the group? That's what she called LT. I'm telling you.
Larry, Tom, Dick, Harry.
Straight up, that was literally.
That's crazy.
Right. She had no idea. But then when I played Holding On, then she knew.
Okay.
Oh, and I heard that song. I'm like, too late. Too late. The committee is meeting, and we'll assess it.
Yes. The card.
Yes.
Dang.
Yeah, but she hadn't even heard of the names.
See, I've heard the names.
She even said Jeffrey Osborne could not be black. His last name was Osborne. So I'm gonna need you to talk to your fellow young gospel artists, cause Lord, she needs some help.
Man.
With
She may have been sheltered too. Like I've experienced that too, growing up. So benefit of the doubt, you know.
But she out. Y'all out. So y'all can't keep using that shelter stuff.
Dang.
I mean, y'all got to play catch up.
Okay,
so I'm gonna need y'all.
I'm gonna go do some research too.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you like go to Apple Music, Spotify.
And
there you go. But at least you know their names.
I heard their names, yeah.
She didn't know their names. She literally thought I said Little Richard. I got you. Good luck with the tour, bro.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.